G'day there guys, do you like relationships? Cause I wouldn't know what those are. It's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Thank you. Posted by user Studio6T. Titled, My boyfriend, 27 male, refuses to talk about marriage or the future in general with me. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 8 years, since we were both 19 in college, and we moved in together about 2.5 years ago. Years ago, we would occasionally discuss getting married someday and having kids, and it seemed like we both wanted the same things in that regard. Recently, since we've been living together, every time I try to ask him anything about the future, even like planning how to get to our friend's wedding a month from now, he refuses to answer anything and just says he doesn't want to talk about it right now. I asked him a couple of weeks ago if he wanted to get married, and he just asked me the same question back, and when I said yes, he just went silent for a while, and then said he didn't want to talk about it right now. I feel like he's constantly shoving me away, and I'm feeling scared that now he's faced with the actual threat of commitment, his real feelings are showing, and that he was just lying to me before. I don't know what to do at this point and could use some advice. In the comments, Bad B Crow says, Okay, so when do you want to talk about it? Honey, if I can't plan for a future with you in it, I'm gonna have to start planning for a future without you. Is that what you want? OP replies, Thanks for the advice. I'm going to ask him to set up an exact time to talk about it and see what happens. You deserve an answer. I do warn you though, his avoidance may be a response in and of itself. He shouldn't be holding you in suspense, and more importantly, you shouldn't have to sit around waiting to know if there's a future or not. So much this. My ex would beat around the bush with me so much, it'd make me mad and sad that I never knew what the hell he was thinking. Had he not broken up with me for a different reason, I was going to have a walk date on when I was leaving had he not been able to give me an answer. It's possible that his feelings simply changed about the situation. Maybe he doesn't want to get married. I don't think it would be wise to give him an ultimatum. If you have different goals in life, then it's fine if you want to move on. Me personally, I don't see any point in marriage, but that's just my personal opinion. Everyone has different goals for themselves. In any case, I think you do have a right to know what he plans to do, especially if marriage is important to you. He needs to understand that. Just be careful how you gauge that response. All I'm saying is, don't give him an ultimatum unless you are prepared to stick to it. Personally, I don't think ultimatums are a good idea, but it's your call. It's your relationship, and you have every right to know where it's headed. If that is the case, he needs to tell her and stop putting off the uncomfortable conversation. If he can't tell her what his plans for the future are, she's going to have to start making her own without him. That's not an ultimatum, it's just the truth. Love Tulip says, I was in your shoes a few years ago. In my case, my ex kept avoiding the topic of kids and marriage. Until one day, he told me the truth and said he just never wanted either. He just wanted me to stay. We were together at that point for about 5 years. I left, you should too. Don't waste any more time. OP replies, I understand. I just feel like I need an answer like you got before I just leave. Then get that answer. There comes a point when no answer is an answer. Make this clear to him. Tell him that it's time for him to come clean about whatever feelings he's hiding. If he's not even willing to sit down with you and talk about your future, then he's not willing to do what any basic relationship needs to keep going. It already shows a disrespectful lack of care about you, which is never a good sign. And Consistent Garbage says, I agree that one day you'll find that you've moved on to someone who values you more and is excited to be with you, and you'll be very pleased. If you have to push him over these important things, you'll either continue to be hurt and disappointed, or he will marry you and you will wonder somewhere in your head if he'd only married you now just because he was comfortable and didn't want to lose you and start over his life. I was with someone for 13 years, boyfriend and girlfriend for the first 10 years. He also would dismiss marriage talk. Then he told me he finds it antiquated. He did the same thing to me in the very beginning about putting a title of boyfriend and girlfriend on us. Long story short, I ended up leaving. I'm with someone who truly cherishes me now. Was I afraid? Yes. Did it hurt? Yes. But it was worth it. I'm pleased to hear that you have had this experience. I left my partner of 9 years last year, despite the fact we had bought a house together, because he refused to discuss marriage, and I felt that I had been held back by his refusal to move the relationship forwards. I'm still in the very early days, and still scared of the future, so it's lovely to hear a positive experience of somebody who left, and it worked out for. And OP leaves an edit in their post. Edit? Thanks to everyone for the advice. I'm going to put my foot down tomorrow morning, before he's had time to get bogged down by anything from the day, and either get some clear answers, or get an agreed to specific time to discuss marriage and our future goals as a couple. Edit 2. I appreciate y'all trying to stand up for me, but I'd like it if you'd stop calling him an a-hole, etc. He's a genuinely lovely guy, and we get along great as a team, and have for the majority of our relationship. It's just this area where there's a big problem that I'm trying to get sorted out. Thanks. And now on to the update. Hi guys, I just wanted to thank you all for your love, advice, and support regarding my last post. I woke up yesterday morning and told my boyfriend that either we're going to have a serious adult conversation about the future right now, or you can pick a time later today. After a bit of back and forth, he picked 5 p.m. At 5, we sat down on the couch and discussed each of our goals regarding marriage, children, employment, etc. We also discussed concerns that each of us had. I started out with mine, and then I think that helped him voice his concerns, the largest of which involved my family. They're complicated. I think me forcing the scheduling of a time to talk helped him open up about his concerns. No, I don't have a ring on my finger yet, but my goal was to get him to open up about why he didn't want to discuss it. We ended up talking for about 2 hours, and I made clear my timeline of requirements, and he agreed. I feel like we're in a good place now. Thanks again for all the love and support. Edit, for everyone saying that this doesn't change anything and I should have broken up with him, and giving an ultimatum is going to backfire, etc. I didn't give him an ultimatum. I never threatened to break up with him. I told him what I needed from him, and we talked through a lot of questions and concerns from both sides. It wasn't a one-way conversation like you all seem to have assumed. Thank you to everyone for your continued support. I hope those of you who feel like relationship issues can never be resolved find happiness in your own lives. Edit 2. For everyone saying that my timeline requirements sound controlling, you must not be women who want to have children. Sorry, but I'd like to have kids, and unfortunately, my clock is ticking. I think wanting to be married by the time I'm 30 is pretty reasonable. For everyone saying he's just telling me what I want to hear and will keep pushing me off, I understand your concern, but the conversation we had leads me to believe otherwise. I know that sounds fishy, but without relaying word for word what was said, I don't really know how to explain it. Again, thank you all for your comments. You're really helping me think through everything from every angle. In the comments, friend Lily says, "This is a great update, and I'm glad you two were able to talk. But coming from a person who's been married for 10 years, and we still have communication hiccups, please work on communication before you get married. Communication in any relationship at any time is hard, and you cannot have a healthy relationship when neither of you are getting your needs met or when you're not telling each other your concerns without pulling teeth." Agreed. My husband and I are solid, but when we had some unexpected life-changing events occur, he was transferred out of state, I can't join him for a while, I got us into marriage counseling so we could work on communication. Divorce was never on the table, but we were arguing nearly every time we were together. Just the few sessions we attended helped us get back on track. Communication is a never-ending cycle. I recommend to anyone in a long-term relationship to keep counseling as an option for when things get tough. Sometimes it takes a new perspective to see what your significant other needs, and vice versa. Hell, go to counseling before times get tough. No reason to keep it as a last-dish resort. Crap Happens So says, "This is what I started to do with my husband. We would pick a day and a time for when we were going to discuss important topics or decisions. My husband did not like to immediately start talking about big life decisions in the moment, but knowing that there was a discussion that was going to happen allowed him to think about it beforehand. I'm so happy I found this. I'm the kind of person who gets emotional and needs to talk about things in the moment, but my partner often feels like I bring big things up out of the blue and it really stresses him out. I want to try to approach and see if it makes these kinds of discussions easier for the both of us." And Pry D2 says, "Wow, that's actually something that put a smile on my face at the end. The way it started, it sounded like things were going to turn sour at any point onwards. I'm happy for both of you. That's actually something to look forward to. It's a good thing that you were able to come up with that hard topic that usually puts people on the verge of tears and discomfort, and to come out of it unscathed with a smile in your heart. Well, that's a great thing. Now your future is ever brighter. I'm deep down happy for you and your boyfriend. Make the best of it." And OP replies, "Thank you so much." I'm really glad that this had a peaceful resolution here. I don't know what to say besides that. It may not be the resolution that a lot of people were expecting, as OP said in their 2 edits there, but sometimes relationships resolve issues like this. And sure, some people may not be happy with that, but it's not their relationship to comment on. They don't understand the dynamics of this relationship, neither do we. It's the 2 people in this relationship that understand it fully and know how to bridge the gap here, and I'm glad they finally did. If it continues to go well in the future, then good on them. I'm going to give them a thumbs up for the way they've handled it so far, and I hope they continue to work on their issues and find a meaningful outcome, whether that be getting married or just coming to an agreement of not getting married. Who knows what the future holds for them. And our next post is by user Arrogant Dante, titled 32 Male. How can I convince my family I'm reformed and no longer a horrible person? They still think of me as nothing more than a common crook. They're valid in their reasoning, to be fair. I did 11 years in a state penitentiary. I was granted parole, and I'm genuinely trying to be a better person, but I have nothing. Nobody. My brother is the sole person who contacts me, and even then, it's sometimes to give some money. My family has completely cut me off. I don't know how to convince them I'm a changed man. I know what horrible things I did, and I reformed. I just want my mum's love again. I miss her. I miss having a family." And in the comments, Victor Patterson says, "You can do this by doing and not telling them and trying to convince them. It will take a lot of time and effort." Bingo. F This Crap 204 says, "I think it depends on your crime. Some things can be forgiven, some cannot. Armed robbery. I was a punk of a kid. I and a friend held up a liquor store thinking we'd get rich. I got 15 years but was granted parole at 10. I hate myself for doing it. I ruined my life over something so stupid." It's not easy to earn that trust back. Anyone can be good for a day or a week. You need to be an example of what it means to live life as a reformed man. It may take years to gain the respect back from those who mean the most to you. If you do the right thing day after day, you'll succeed. You know what you're aiming at. Now take the steps to get there. Remind yourself of the big picture and your long-term goals. You have to wake up every day and live a good life. Verbally apologize to your family, but also make a living amends. Show them you've changed. It'll take time. Armed robbery is not an unforgivable offense. Like many others have said, your words will mean little. Start living your life and doing good, but do it for you. In time, your brother will report the good and difference he's witnessed or noticed, or maybe someone else close will hear or see it for themselves. Sending cards on important occasions will sometimes show your efforts without the attached expectation of a reply from your family. It is likely hurting your mother as much as it's hurting you to be apart and not in each other's lives. Back to the original above, live your life for you. Do well for yourself and be the change you need in your life. I hope the best outcome for you. I'm rooting for you. It'll take some time, but they will recognize. You must stay on your path to redemption and let your actions speak for you rather than your words. OP replies, yeah, it's just hard. I want nothing more than to be treated like a person. I refuse to go back to hell. It's just so lonely. I work and sleep and that's it. I lack the ability to make friends. Do you game? This may sound kind of dorky, but especially in the pandemic times, online gaming and Discord chats have been a great social circle and a way to meet new people for me. Wishing you better times, friend. I do, but I have a laptop that can do light gaming. But most of my stuff is from pre-prison, so it sucks. I can't have a TV or game console in my halfway home. They don't have a room or allow it. Hopping on this comment thread, I second Discord servers. I met my 2 closest friends on a fandom server for a book. Another friend met their partner in the same server. I'm a deeply insecure, awkward person in real life. Online helped me open up a lot and gives me a clean slate with anonymity. It allowed me to be less worried about people judging me. Books, movies, series, or just making friends servers. There's so many out there. No commitments to invest. I server hopped a lot until I found my people. Best of luck, OP. And someone else says, it's going to take 11 years of honest hard work and becoming a contributing member of your community to put this more or less behind you. It's an ugly truism that choices have consequences. I have no idea why you served 11 years or what you may have done to hurt your family, but it's on you to fix this. Good luck. You are 100% right. I made an active choice and suffered. I did my time, but the way I'm treated is just hard. No point in being reformed if you're still forever branded a criminal. With a felony on my record, I have very little choice of housing or work. It's just frustrating because if I make a single mistake, I'm 100% screwed and back in prison. Dude, your attitude sucks. You haven't done your time, you've been released early. But you're a criminal. You shouldn't have to hide from that. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Know why I don't like telling people that? Because I'm recovering. But it's part of who I am. I can't just wish it away. I am an alcoholic still. I just happen to be in recovery now. You're a criminal. You're just a reformed criminal now. And yeah, having to start again sucks, but that's the way it is. All sorts of people have to start over from scratch following business failure, bankruptcy, divorce, illness, or death of a loved one, addiction, the list goes on. Does it suck? Sure. What's the alternative? If you give up, nothing will ever get better. And no, again, you've made yourself out to be the victim. You got let out of jail a whole 5 effing years early. Yay! Rejoice that you've been given a shot at freedom, and all you have to do is stick to a few simple rules. Someone had faith in you that you could turn your life around and wouldn't squander the opportunity. Prove them right. And start thinking of what you have rather than what you don't have. You're healthy. You have your freedom. You have a roof over your head, food in the refrigerator, and money in your pockets. Hopefully you have, or you'll soon have, a paying job. I know people who would kill for just basic things like that. You are so much luckier than some, and things could be so much worse. Rather than thinking about what you don't have and how much life sucks and your family are ignoring you, focus instead on giving back. You could start with restorative justice and see if the store owner you robbed would be willing to meet with you and try to reconcile. In addition, find a charity that you can help. A lot won't want a felon, but a lot of charities also participate in community service and are set up to take people who have been convicted. Talk to your parole officer about it and see if he knows any charities looking for help who would be willing to trust you. Some animal charities even use prisoners still in jail to train their puppies, service dogs, or to rehabilitate stray dogs for rehoming. They are heavily screened to make sure they're safe to work with the dogs, obviously, and the programs work wonders on both the dogs and the prisoners. Maybe try something there. Even just walking dogs at an animal charity. That's the boring minutia most people don't want to do, but it's so rewarding. I've done it myself. Hell, offer to go to large animal sanctuaries. I can guarantee they have massive bales of hay and sacks of feed that no one wants to move. And you get to pet the horses or donkeys or cattle, etc. on your breaks. Horses love polo mints, just a tip. Hell, most riding schools survive on a shoestring budget because caring for horses is bloody expensive. They often have volunteers who work a full day in exchange for a 30 or hour lesson. You don't have to take the lesson. And hell, you could learn new skills and maybe find a new career. Giving back is really rewarding. Just knowing you helped people or animals who needed it. You made their lives just a little bit better. After my mother lost her business in a recession, she was charged for some financial wheeling dealings as she tried to keep it afloat and pled guilty for a light sentence. She did her community service with a charity that helped learning disabled people, teaching them joinery and other skills so they could find employment elsewhere. Her crime was non-violent, and she had no direct contact with the special needs people, but that charity was obviously set up to take people who had been convicted of crimes. Oddly, for someone convicted of a financial crime, they did let her collect the collection boxes. I remember helping her count the funds. We didn't keep any. Anyway, that's besides the point. She lost her business, went bankrupt, lost her husband, lost her house, faced criminal charges, and had a conviction on her record. All in the space of about 18 months. That hit her hard. It took her years to fully recover, but she began a new business under my adult sister's name almost immediately and began to earn a living again. Because what's the alternative? Roll over and die? Live the rest of her life on benefits? My father's business also went down in the same recession, the big 80s one. It took him 20 years to find a new job. Day after day, he was down at the job center. Every month there was a new course for him to try and improve his chances, and he actually relished going to them. He applied for job after job and got rejection after rejection, but he never gave up. Finally, 20 years later, a company gave him a chance and he retrained in health and safety at about 60 years of age. He bloody loved it. He's 75 now and still works 2 days a week with a 4-hour round commute to London each day, just because he likes the job. He doesn't have to, he has a pension, but he wants to. There's not much I can say, I'm proud of my dad, but that indomitable spirit is something I really admire. Don't give up, keep plodding along, one foot in front of the other, and one day, you'll look back and realize you've climbed a mountain. Sure, it was hard work, but you effing did it. No one did it for you. And when you're feeling sorry for yourself, remember what you have, like the things I listed above, rather than what you don't have. It's hard to be sad when you're feeling grateful. Every time you think, I can't do this because it violates my parole, immediately follow that thought with, but I could still be in jail, and I'd much rather be free and not doing X than be sitting in a jail cell. I wish you good luck. And this is where I wanted to end the video at because I know what's coming. But we have to live in reality and we have to face what happens in reality sometimes. I really, really, really appreciate that long story from this comment, and I love comments like this because it just makes me feel better and it makes me want to work harder in life. And it makes me appreciate the things that I do have and to, look at the bigger picture and look at the things I do have and not take them for granted. But I can't do you guys that disservice, and I do have to read the update. If you want to leave on a good note, you're welcome to click off the video now. And on to the update. My brother got my mum to sit down with me. Long story is I poured my heart out to her, acknowledging I had failed her and everyone. I desired to change and had steps to reform. She was unmoved. She said 3 words, "You're not forgiven." Before she left, she said what I did was something that cannot ever be forgiven. She spent years trying to convince herself I was not the thug people said I was. She bent over backwards defending me in front of my father. When I got arrested, a part of her died. She hasn't been the same since. Looking at me is just too painful now. She can't forgive me. She can't find it in her heart to ever forgive me. She wants no further relationship with me and wants me to cease all contact with her, or else she will go to the police. That was that. My brother drove me back home. I just sat in silence while he tells me she lost a lot of passion in her life when I got put away. He'll keep sending me money because he owes me for the amount of times I protected him, but we aren't family. He can't forgive me and wants nothing to do with me. He hopes, he prays I can keep my vow to be a better person. He has his doubts, but he has some hope. I expect this, but it's still crushing. In the comments, Berthel Pop says, "Didn't you get counseling before you were released that pretty much went over this? They should have impressed on you that nobody owes you forgiveness and that you made victims of more than your victims. The people closest to you were victimized by your crime. This relationship may or may not be repairable, but the only way there is any chance is by living your life right. Not for anyone or anything, just live right. Your actions over the years are the only thing that can convince anyone." And OP replies, "Nope, I went to AA meetings since I had a drinking problem beforehand. And I understand, but I have nobody, nothing. I screwed up, did my time, but still have nothing. My job opportunities are limited. People want nothing to do with me, and if I make any sort of mistake, I'm screwed. It's depressing because I thought things in my life would be better out of prison. It's not gotten better. If anything, I feel so empty inside now. No matter what I do, I will always be a piece of crap felon. Society will never forgive me." Well, sorry. Or correction system is really crap in most places. They didn't set you up to succeed on the outside. You have a decent PO? You could ask them for some ideas on where you can get transition resources. And look, I'm on your side here because I believe you did your time so your debt is paid. But I'm going to have to ask you why you think you'd have anything right now. Your life just got put on pause for 10 years. You need to get to work if you want to have anyone or anything. It's a major life change. You basically grew into an adult in prison, and you've never lived as an adult outside. It's not surprising that this is hard. It's supposed to be hard. That's normal. And there are plenty of felons that are doing just fine after putting in the work and the time to become a part of society again after release. I get how you're feeling and why you would say this, but it's not true, and I think you already know that. OP, I think you also need to realize that your past isn't just about you anymore. The law may say that you've served your time, but you've permanently ruined your family's reputation. People around town will label your mom as the woman whose son went to prison, etc. It'll be used as excuse to not trust her because she might be enabling you. She might be excluded from events out of fear that you'll show up. Your mom is cutting you off to save herself. It might seem selfish, but it's a survival technique after such betrayal, and it's nowhere near as selfish as your actions. You can only change your public image through hard work over time. It won't happen overnight, and not everyone will let go of your past. You need to accept that they have the right to be hurt and not forgive you. G'day there guys, and that's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and were entertained by today's bloody good content. As always, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your beautiful faces and names will be up on screen right now. Haven't forgot about you guys, sorry I was taking a little break there. So yeah, if you see yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to be on this screen, there's links down to the description below where you can sign up and help support the channel and all future projects that I'm going to be doing on this one. With all that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next episode, and I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.